What's up, guys? Welcome back. Case here with Maxaroma, your #1 destination for fragrances on the low. So today we have Rive collection for men's part 2. So we did a while back a men's collection for the Rive fragrance lines, and today we have 4 other fragrance products from the Rive brand fragrance house. So we have Brave over here. As you can see, this is brand new in the box, fresh, brand new plastic and everything. This is the Invictus, so the Paco Rabanne Invictus clone. Essentially, we have the Rive Cabana, which is the Le Male clone from Rive. Le Male is actually from JPG. Cabana is the clone of JPG's Le Male. We have Aqua right here, Rive, which is the Armani Aqua di Gio clone. And last but not least, we have Hipfire for men, which is the Dior Fahrenheit clone. So we're gonna try each of these out today with giving our first impressions on the first few notes that we can feel, and just an overall opinion on how these fragrances match with what I've tried in like the stores like Macy's, and because I've tried most of these the actual originals in Macy's before trying these fragrances out. So I have a general idea of what the actual original fragrances should smell like. In terms of performance, I won't be able to speak too much, but I can definitely give a pretty accurate opinion regarding them. Now, regarding the review, usually what we do is we try one fragrance and then we give we try it out for 48 hours and we give a review on a Thursday. But in this case, since we have 4 fragrances, what I'll be doing is for these fragrances, the lighter fragrances I'll be wearing during the daytime, so it fades faster, and the heavier fragrances, so basically the Hipfire and the Cabana, which are supposed to be a little denser fragrances from the original that I know, I'll be trying them in the nighttime. So it'll be like a 12-hour test for each fragrance throughout this 48-hour span. Now, considering how these are clones and usually the Rive fragrances don't last that long, it'll be pretty accurate on terms of the general span of time, but we'll try our best to give the most accurate expectations on the longevity and the projection and the overall usage of these fragrances. So without further ado, let's try these fragrances out and give our opinion. Now, first up, I'm gonna try Aqua from Rive because I love Aqua di Gio. I'd really like to see what this has to offer, so we're gonna be opening it up. Oh yeah. Man, these packages are really well sealed, so that's one good advantage. As you can see, the box is pretty standard, pretty decent design for the fragrance price in general. Opening it up, it has a double kind of layer of packaging, so it's pretty cool. That's pretty nice. Make sure the fragrance is safe. And as you can see, the box is different from the Aqua di Gio. However, the original, the fragrance bottle itself is quite similar to the Aqua di Gio fragrance. So as you can see, clear with that kind of faded glass. So it's pretty cool. I like it. It's definitely not a magnetic cap. Now, the fragrance cap, and now we're gonna try it out on this side of my arm, or I should say my wrist here. Pretty good sprayer. Let it fan out a little. Just in the beginning notes, I'm not smelling as harsh of an alcoholic note as I would with the previous Rive fragrances that I've tried, so that's a plus. Definitely not that potent of a fragrance. I mean, this is Rive. We know from experience that this fragrance is not the strongest fragrance line, but it is great for what you're paying for. Definitely has that aromatic aquatic notes I'm smelling. Definitely a nice summer fragrance if you're looking for something cheap. You know, if you go to the gym in the summertime, spray, there you go, you're ready to go. This is definitely a nice fragrance, mostly for if you're by the pool. I think this is a nice fragrance by the pool because, you know, when you're in the pool, you kind of get splashed around. You know, if you don't want to be wearing the actual Aqua di Gio while going to the pool, but if you want something having a nice little fragrance around, this is definitely one to think in mind for a fragrance by the poolside. Now, I'm not really smelling this fragrance as strongly as I expected, so keep in mind that this is not that strong as a first impressions. Now, moving on to the lighter set of our fragrances, as per mentioned, Brave, which is the Invictus of La Rive, essentially. Now, this boxing itself is very Paco Rabanne-esque. I mean, this wings over here kind of reminds me of the Paco Rabanne. However, the box is definitely generic, as is with most of these La Rive boxes. You know, they kind of got to cut costs somewhere. Now, as we can see here, this bottle of the fragrance is pretty generic. It's kind of similar to the Invictus in terms of the trim style and the fragrance color and the glass design very lightly. I mean, the Invictus is like in a cone of a, it's like a kind of a trophy design, so this is definitely not the same, but they're trying to mimic that kind of same style. As you can see, we're going to try this fragrance out on right here. Nice little spray, pretty strong. The fragrance itself, once again, does not give off alcoholic vibes, which is amazing. The notes are not strong alcoholic scents, which I've experienced, as I previously mentioned, for the other La Rive fragrances. These are definitely a upgrade on my expectation. This one is very nice. It has kind of a sweet, citrusy tone to it, which is odd because the original Invictus that I've smelled is like a blast of citrus and aquatic and aromatic and just a very nice, fresh, spicy kind of experience as well. But this one is definitely more muted in terms of the strength and overall initial notes that you're smelling. It has a slightly sweet citrus vibe to it. It's definitely nice. I would say this is a nice daily fragrance if you're looking for something for work, or if you just need something in the car, you know, it's done, you know. Kind of a, how would I say, this could be a gym fragrance as well. I mean, most of these fragrances can be considered for the gym because you're sweating, you know, you don't want something too strong. But this is definitely a good office scent, I'd say. It kind of reminds me of the Nautical Voyage kind of strength and league of things. It definitely has a nice muted kind of notes to it. It's not over, it's not trying to be something it's not, essentially. You know, it's definitely right in there with the Nautical Voyage kind of league. So if you're considering something for work or something on the go, I definitely recommend Brave La Rive for that kind of occasion. It definitely has a nice, subtle, but classy smell. Moving on to the stronger fragrances, we have Hipfire from Man. Let's get it going. So Hipfire is the Dior Fahrenheit copy. The fragrance style itself, this is the box as previously shown, Hipfire. And it has the, this has the double layer of, you know, boxing as well, which is nice for these kind of fragrances. You don't expect this kind of thing. The cap kind of reminds me of, this cap over here reminds me of the Givenchy Rouge, Exteriors Rouge. So it's pretty cool. I like this bottle. It's pretty classy, very nice. We're gonna try it on this side of my arm. Nice little sprayer, kind of alcoholic in the opening. Leave it out for a little. I expect this one to be a little stronger in terms of the fragrance itself, because the original Dior is pretty strong. So even as a clone, you would expect some kind of 50% to 60% of accuracy on the cloning. Has a nice scent to it. I can't really pinpoint if I can. It doesn't have the original Dior Fahrenheit DNA per se. It kind of seems like it's a more standalone-esque kind of fragrance. It doesn't really have complete similarities, but I can definitely see that similarity with the original Dior Fahrenheit. It has that kind of fuel, kind of, you know, leather-ish kind of vibe to it. I definitely want to see what this smells after a few hours of usage. It's very light. These fragrances do not expect much performance. I would probably set these fragrances at about 3-4 hours of max performance, to be honest, because what I'm smelling right now is pretty light. So that's something to consider. I would expect this fragrance good for a date night or something in a close environment. If you're in, say, a bar or something of such, that would be a nice environment for this kind of fragrance, mostly in a colder climate. Now moving on to Cabana by Rive, which is Le Male Clone by Jean-Paul Gaultier. So we have this guy right here. As you can see, the boxing, same double layer as well, double layer of boxing, but this bottle actually has a nicer finish to it. I definitely like this fragrance. Kind of looks like a bottle of liquor, like a mini bottle of whiskey or something. As you can see, it has that kind of shading as well. Very nice. I like this gold trim. They went for the whole shebang on this one. I'm gonna try it out on my elbow, on the arm here. Nice sprayer, much better than the other ones. Kind of has an alcoholic note to it as well in the opening. The alcoholic note kind of mixes with the sweet vanilla notes that I'm getting. The vanilla is a little stronger in this one than I was expecting, to be honest. It has the Le Male feel to it, but not that density that Le Male has. The density of Le Male kind of makes it more rich in terms of what you can smell. This fragrance does not have that same richness to it, but it definitely has the kind of personality that you can expect from a Le Male fragrance. Yeah, it definitely has the same kind of notes in this fragrance. However, it's definitely not dumbed down, but watered down. It kind of feels like it's not the same. But as I said, these are Rive fragrances. You should expect this from these fragrances. 3-4 hours of performance, but for the price point, they are phenomenal. I mean, if you compare this to the Le Male original prices, man, these are definitely a bargain. So that's what we have for our first impressions of these 4 wonderful fragrances. So we had Aqua, we had the Brave, which is the Invictus copy. Aqua was the Acqua di Gio from Armani copy. What I have in my hands, Cabana, is the Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Male copy, and Hipfire was the Dior Fahrenheit copy. So these are all clones of these famous fragrances. These are definitely much cheaper in terms of price points, so they're a bargain. And just depends on what you're trying to be using these fragrances for. That's going to define if they're worth it for you or not. So on Thursday, I'm going to be reviewing these fragrances after a 12-hour test of each fragrance. So throughout this 48-hour span, I'll be trying the lighter fragrances in the daytime and the stronger fragrances in the nighttime, meaning the Aqua and the Brave in the daytime, and Hipfire and Cabana in the nighttime. So make sure to have been subscribed to our channel so you can stay tuned for our review of these wonderful fragrances. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Thursday for our review of these 4 men's fragrances by Rive.
Let it go, make my body go, make our bodies high.